Good afternoon. It is 5:30 p.m. and I call to order the August 23rd, 2022 Board of Trustees meeting. Do I hear a motion to enter executive session to discuss 2022-2023 employment recommendations and for discussion of personnel matters regarding the superintendent search?
Madam Chair, I move the board enter executive session to discuss 2022-23 employment recommendations and for discussion of personnel matters regarding superintendent search.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Henson. Is there any discussion? Okie dokie. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. We'll now enter into executive session.
Welcome to a new school year, Lexington District One students and families. I'm Jarita Postaway, and I'm excited and honored to join you as interim superintendent. When the opportunity to work in your district presented itself, I jumped at the chance because Lexington District One has a reputation of excellence that's known across the region and state. That back-to-school excitement is certainly in the air. No matter your age, there's something special about new school supplies, picking out your first day of school outfit, and reconnecting with friends and teachers. I'm optimistic that we will enjoy a more normal school year. I know how hard the last few years have been. COVID is still with us, and we must continue to make healthy choices. But we cannot let it define us or divide us any longer. For now, I encourage our students to refocus on the joy of school and the excitement of learning. Let's all renew the reasons we love school. Maybe it's the teacher who saw something in you that made you believe you could do it. Maybe it's the beloved sport that taught you to persevere. Or one of the arts that inspired you to create something amazing. Maybe it's a lifelong friendship you made and still cherish. Our schools are more than just brick and mortar. They're filled with people, both children and adults, who make this community. They're places where our students feel supported, loved, challenged, and empowered. As we head into a new school year, Lexington District 1's 4,000 employees are refocusing on the joy of school too. We promise to empower learning, kindness, success, creativity, and confidence, not only in our students, but also in one another. We hope you will join us. To our students, please always know how much that we believe in you and know you will do great things. Thank you, and have the best school year yet. Please always know how much that we believe in you and know you will do great things. Thank you, and have the best school year yet.
The faces I've seen as kids have been coming in through the summer and looking at our building, that it seemed to have just a sense of pride.
Just being the first person to have this classroom, first person to use this desk, to kind of put your mark on Lakeside is a very neat feeling or experience that not everyone can say that they did. Not everyone can say they opened up a brand new building.
The feel of the campus, the natural light that comes in, the collaborative spaces that are there, the opportunities for students to be able to critically think in every classroom and with our new furniture and technology. This is a safe, secure place where there's one way, our entrance in and one way out, and we're seeing everything, but that creates the type of conducive learning environment for kids to thrive and be their best selves.
I'm really looking forward to not only for students who will be new to middle school, but for those who get to make the transition from Lexington Middle to Lakeside to experience all the new things. The first get to make the transition from Lexington Middle Lakeside, the first football team, the first robotics team, and to see what we can accomplish.
We get to create. So you're not stepping into a thing where whether all these traditions or whatever. I said we get to create their traditions that celebrate all kids, where kids' voices are lifted, student leadership is lifted. And we get to do that. Like, that's the incredible work. That's the exciting part is we're not following something. We are creating our own legacy at Lakeside Middle School, and we got the right people to do that work.
Most importantly, just the wonderful teachers and adults in this building that love kids. And we really try to create that culture to start our school year with a place where adults love kids and kids can find a sense of belonging. So it's a big, beautiful building, but equally as important are the people that are going to be in this building. Adults love kids and kids can find a sense of belonging. So it's a big, beautiful building, but equally as important are the people that are going to be in this building.
People think it's an easy job during the summer, but it's not. It's just a long process of trying to get stuff done, trying to get furniture moved, get floors done, put furniture back. People think it's an easy and that's the hardest thing you got to do during the summer. We use the summer months to hit the big jobs. Stuff done, trying to get you can kind of maintain it during the school year, but when that summer hits, you know what's coming. It's like, nail down, let's get this done, because what we are doing, we are top scrubbing and stripping some rooms. You got some rooms that have been worn out for the whole school year. When it comes down to the summer, it's time to go in there and we need to deep clean it. So we need to strip it. You got some rooms that don't get no wear and tear. So the first thing we look at, hey, let's go in there and top scrub it. It's time to
As soon as our children and family walk through the front doors, the first things that you see are the floors, the walls, everything around you. And everything that our custodial staff is doing this summer really primes the school to be ready to welcome children and families back. It creates a clean, safe environment where we're ready to do our work and do our best and learn each day. Really is just so important, and I don't think that our custodial staff in the summer really knows how much they truly are appreciated. But when you walk into the school for the first day back, just with teachers, we have teachers coming in the building, you know, they're gonna, the first things they're going to see is, wow, the bushes look amazing, the grounds look wonderful. It's a place that we want to come each and every day.
Once you do what you have to do in this school to get it ready, when people walk in, you want their eyes open and their mouths open. Like, once you do what you have to do, you want them to really look and say, man, they did a good job this summer. When people walk in, you want their eyes open and their mouths open. Like, wow. You want them to really look and say, man, they did a good job this summer.
Good morning. Welcome back.
It almost feels like the day before Christmas when everybody's feeling that excitement. They don't know what's going to happen, but they know it's going to be something. It almost feels like the day before Christmas when everybody's feeling that excitement. They don't know what's going to happen, but they know it's going to be something.
I feel like the first day of school is probably the most exciting day of school. Teachers are ready, we've prepared, we've missed our kids, we're ready for them to be back, and there's just an excitement in the air on the first day of school.
So every morning is a part of our routine. We will say good morning to one another, and then we will ask, is there anyone that wants to share how they're feeling? So every morning is a part of our routine. All right, that's going to be a part of our morning every day.
Just makes me feel great because people are so glad to be here, and those are tears of joy. Everyone is happy to be here, and all day long today I've just seen smiling faces on our staff members and on our students and on our parents, and it's just a great feeling.
Exciting, nervous. I was nervous this year because 5th grade, that's different.
And on our parents, and it's
But
just a great feeling.
I'm pretty happy now. I was nervous with my teacher.
What are you having? Are you having grilled cheese today?
The first week is usually really
I'm pretty happy.
it's tough. I love the kids, seeing their smiling faces.
Are you having grilled
It
cheese
feels
today?
good to have the
first week
kids
is
come
usually
in, you know,
really,
thanking
really
us for having the
It's tough. I
classrooms
love the
ready,
kids,
building
seeing
looking
their smiling
good.
faces.
My main concern is making
good
a
to have
clean
the kids
environment
come
for
in,
the
you know,
student,
thanking
kids,
us for
staff
having
member,
the
plus parents when they
classrooms
come in
ready,
saying the building looks great.
Good morning, Pleasantville Elementary. This is Amy. How may I help you? It gives them the feel for how the school's going to go, and if we can make them feel welcome and important and know that their children are going to be safe, then I feel like they're going to have a great year, and it starts the day off right.
Are you okay with everything, like
important
with your health stuff?
know that their children are going to be safe, then I feel like they're going to have a
It looks
great
like
year,
you're
and it
off
starts
to
the
a
day off right.
super
Are you
start,
okay with everything, like
right?
with your health stuff?
Okay, have a great day and a great year. It looks like
At the
you're
end
off
of the
to a
day, the
super start.
excitement is to see that
Right.
our students on the first day
Okay, have a
enjoyed
great
school,
day and
that
a
it
great
felt
year.
good, that they At the felt
end of the
loved,
day,
and that
the
they felt a
excitement
warmth,
is
and that they
to
want
see
to
that
be
our
back.
students on the first day enjoyed school, that it felt good, that they felt loved, and that they felt a warmth, and that they want to be back.
I think this year's going to be a great year. We love Pleasantville. I think this year's going to be a great year. We love Pleasantville.
Rising Stars Camp has been in existence for about 5 years in our school district, and it serves students who are considered at risk.
This camp provides these kids with academic support, but not only that, they also receive emotional support, and they have a bunch of experience, like many types of experience learning different skills and abilities that they can apply.
One of the classes that was at the summer camp was the cooking class, and I feel like that was a great way to teach students how to cook. One of the classes and that was at the summer camp was at the end of like every week, and I feel like that was a great way. Miss Alma would provide them with a basket of what they cooked,
so they could make every week and at home.
These children are also learning English. Most of them are learning English along with the content area. And so what we know about language learning is that when you combine language learning in a context that they are interested in, then that's really going to enrich that language experience. So thinking about, culinary arts, for example, not only are they learning some basic cooking skills, but they're also learning the language that goes along with those basic cooking skills.
After being at the summer camp with Miss Alma, I feel like I was like, this is what I want to do, especially after like seeing what she does and how she helps others. I really enjoyed it, and it's something I want to do. I was like, this is what I want to do, especially after like seeing what she does and how she helps others. I really enjoyed it. I want to do.
Awesome and fun. It's like a school day and you're reading more.
I've been shocked by just their willingness to work during the summer. I really thought they were going to kind of drag their feet and, oh, I don't want to come to school, but they come in smiling and bursting through the door. Good morning, Miss Bearfield. And so that just makes my heart happy to see these kids who don't have to be here, who just want to learn and they want to participate and be together in this little community that we've created.
This camp is super important for our students. The summer slide is real. This is something we refer to where in the summertime, if kids' minds don't stay engaged and active, they tend to lose some of the learning that they've learned throughout the year. So this camp does a great job of really bridging the summertime from the point of leaving their grade level and getting ready for the next grade level. Keeping our brains active is super important. Here at the camp, we focus on reading, writing, and math, and as we know, all of that correlates with each other nicely. And so over the summertime, we can enjoy some great books, we can work on our math skills, maintain what we've learned throughout the year, and keep that active in our brains so that when we hit the next grade level, we are ready to hit the ground running.
You know, we only have 19 days together, so I think my whole thought process as we've been together these short weeks is just to keep them going, to keep them, I'm not looking for huge growth, but if I can just keep them going, keep them reading, keep them thinking about multiplication and division, some of those core things that we need.
Teacher is very helpful and confident to me, so I think it'll be I would be a better reader.
Welcome to a new school year, Lexington District 1 students and families. I'm Jarita Postaway, and I'm excited and honored to join you as interim superintendent. When the opportunity to work in your district presented itself, I jumped at the chance because Lexington District 1 has a reputation of excellence that's known across the region and state. That back-to-school excitement is certainly in the air. No matter your age, there's something special about new school supplies, picking out your first day of school outfit, and reconnecting with friends and teachers. I'm optimistic that we will enjoy a more normal school year. I know how hard the last few years have been. COVID is still with us, and we must continue to make healthy choices, but we cannot let it define us or divide us any longer. For now, I encourage our students to refocus on the joy of school and the excitement of learning. Let's all renew the reasons we love school. Maybe it's the teacher who saw something in you that made you believe you could do it. Maybe it's the beloved sport that taught you to persevere, or one of the arts that inspired you to create something amazing. Maybe it's a lifelong friendship you made and still cherish. Our schools are more than just brick and mortar. They're filled with people, both children and adults, who make this community special. They're places where our students feel supported, loved, challenged, and empowered. As we head into a new school year, Lexington District 1's 4,000 employees are refocusing on the joy of school too. We promise to empower learning, kindness, success, creativity, and confidence, not only in our students, but also in one another. We hope you will join us. To our students, please always know how much that we believe in you and know you will do great things. Thank you, and have the best school year yet.
Faces I've seen as kids have been coming in through the summer and looking at our building, that they seem to have just a sense of pride.
Just being the first person to have this classroom, the first person to use this desk, to kind of put your mark on Lakeside is a very neat feeling or experience that not everyone can say that they did. Not everyone can say they opened up a brand new building.
The feel of the campus, the natural light that comes in, the collaborative spaces that are there, the opportunities for students to be able to critically think in every classroom and with our new furniture and technology. This is a safe, secure place where there's really our one way, our entrance in and one way out, and we're seeing everything, but that creates the type of conducive learning environment for kids to thrive and be their best selves.
I'm really looking forward to not only for students who will be new to middle school, but for those who get to make the transition from Lexington Middle to Lakeside to experience all the new things. The first of Lakeside, the first football team, the first robotics team, and to see what we can accomplish.
We get to
Good afternoon. We are back at 6 o'clock. Do I hear a motion to conclude executive session and return to general session?
Madam Chair, move the board conclude executive session and return to general session.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries. I call to order the general session of the August 23rd board meeting. The district is in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act by notifying the media of the date, time, and place of the meeting. The district tapes the meeting for accuracy in preparing the minutes. At this time, I yield to Dr. Brent Powers to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam Chair, fellow board members, staff, and guests.
Do I hear a motion?
Recommendations for 2022 and 2023 academic year.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Henson. Is there any discussion? Thank you, Ms. Price, for all your department's doing to fill our vacancies.
Thank you. It's been a great start. Our schools, our teachers,
That the board approve 4 administrative recommendations for the 2022-2023 academic year.
I move that the board approve 4 administrative recommendations for 2022-2023 year.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. Anderson, is there any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Do I hear a motion for the board to accept the newly hired support staff report for 2022-2023 as presented by administration?
Madam Chair, I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. This summer. We finish, we will give our honoree Recently, 3 Lexington District 1 nurses were honored for district and state awards. First, we asked Nursing and Health Services Director Amy Wood to join us up front. The South Carolina Department of Education and DHEC recognized Amy as the state's top school nursing administrator with the prestigious D.D. Tuning School Nurse Administrator Award. The award recognizes a registered nurse functioning in a school nurse administrator role who excels at leading quality school nursing and school health programs. Lexington Technology Center's Rachel Rogers, is Rachel here? No, was named the 2022 School Health LPN of the Year. Rachel couldn't be here with us tonight, but we'd still like to honor her. Both Amy and Rachel's awards are voted on by school nurses across the state. Now, would Deerfield Elementary School nurse Jenna Wells come up front? Jenna was honored this past year as Lexington District 1 School Nurse of the Year. As a school nurse, Wells works to provide quality practice, health education, professional development, and environmental health for everyone in her school. To be honored with this award, a school nurse is nominated by school administrators, and then a panel consisting of prior District School Nurse of the Year recipients reviews the nomination packets to select the honorees. Congratulations, Jenna. Thank you for taking the time tonight to help us recognize our amazing students, staff, and schools. We have some very talented individuals in our district, and we love sharing their achievements with you. If you need to leave, we will give you a quick and quiet moment to do that right now. The pages are out of order. I know. Excuse me just a moment. The pages are out of order, and we have one more honoree. I am so sorry. It's here. It's just after that. I have it. It's just within the wrong order. So if you're standing up, just pause. This is like freeze tag. Just pause and listen. You're already standing for the standing ovation that will come in just a minute. So tonight, and this is very important, so we want to make sure that you're here for this. Tonight, we also honor one of our own who will retire in September. Jeff Salters, would you please come forward? We also invite your family up front as well. And I'm so sorry for trying to skip you. For 27 years, Jeff Salters, the district's Chief Operations Officer, has called Lexington District 1 home, beginning his career in the district as the Assistant Coordinator of Information Technology and working his way up to Chief Operations Officer. He managed countless technology-related initiatives, meeting the ever-changing technology demands while watching Lexington District 1 grow immensely. Throughout his career, Jeff watched the district build many new schools, and for him, the best part of the job was seeing students in Lexington District 1 benefit from the new buildings, renovations, and technology available to them. Jeff admits that when he thinks of memorable experiences, he thinks of all the calls from high school administrators describing senior pranks through the years. Imagine starting your day with calls about golf carts on the roof, goats on the roof, rotten catfish in the air duct of a school, and super glue in the locks. While Jeff is looking forward to retirement, he says he will miss all of the great people he has had the pleasure of working with for the last 27 years. But Jeff is ready to relax and hit the road, traveling and enjoying long camping trips with his wife, Sarah. Jeff, you will be missed immensely here. We wish you all the best. You can leave now while they're taking pictures. Jeff, can we get a picture with the board real quick? I know your family wants one too, but. Hey, board, let's go down real quick and get a picture with Jeff, and then we'll. All right, we are moving on to item 9.0, which is the superintendent's report performance, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Postlethwaite.
Thank you. Let's see. Do we have a way to put the slides up so the audience can see them? Thank you very much. I'm going to start my timer and try to stay on time with our reports this evening. So we do want to talk about priorities, but before we do that, we want to advance to the next slide and just give you a couple of pieces of information about our new school year. I also want to thank the communications team with the formatting of the slides and the beautiful pictures of our children in here. So on the next slide, we have just a quick summary. The headlines, of course, are that Pelion Elementary Archers are the world champs, and that is just a phenomenal accomplishment for those students, their parents, and the community. As of day 3, we had about 27,000 students, so we're watching that number. We'll have a better day, a better count for the board, and more accurate on day 10. We have over 2,000 certified employees, over 1,000 support staff, 199 bus drivers. So all told, with substitutes and principals and assistant principals, we have about 4,000 staff members. Thanks to the people of Lexington School District One and the hard work of our facilities department, the district opened the new Performing Arts Center at White Knoll High, the new Lakeside Middle, and classroom additions at Gilbert Middle and Carolina Springs Middle. The next slide is just for clarification purposes. In case you get any calls about our district's social studies curriculum or any other questions about SEL or critical race theory, this is an attempt to give all of you the citation you would need, that we do comply with state law, which is strictly outlines what is and is not acceptable. There are some days that someone may go off script. If we find out that happened, we quickly redirect, but we just wanted to mention this in case you've heard from any parents who have these concerns. Now, finally, to get to the priorities for tonight, we want to focus on setting impactful strategic goals as a board and monitoring the district's progress toward those goals. When you implemented policy ADA, you really called for an accountability system to be really clear about what our students need to accomplish, and then designing a strategic plan to match that accountability system and making sure that Cognia Accreditation or any other accreditation system we use also seeks to provide you data that align with the strategic plan and the accountability systems. I do think it's probably a good time for the district to redo its strategic plan, but I would advise us to wait until after the new board is seated in November so that we can include the new board, community representative, teacher representatives, students, parent representatives, and so forth, so that there is a clear understanding of what our district's key mission is and the input that everyone had into the process of establishing priorities. We talked about this slide once before. The more time the staff has to focus
on things that are not about the strategic goals that come into us from board members, the less time we have to focus on the strategic priorities. So we will hopefully at the next meeting share with you the organizational chart so that you can help parents or concerned citizens who contact you correctly channel their concerns so we can get a response to them quickly and use a minimum of our time. So as on the next slide, we just want to begin to look at some performance goals. We'll look at those you already have in the plan, and then some that we think should be considered as you think about how you want to move forward. So on the performance goals slide, you'll see that there are the 6 goals, performance goals that you already have in your strategic plan. We've highlighted 2 here because they're 2 of the 3 priority goals for the year. The first one is increasing the percentage of students who are progressing on time with the requisite skills for success. That's a really important priority. After September 6th, we'll be able to discuss publicly some of the data, student achievement data that have been embargoed, so that we can take a look and get a baseline of where our students are in mathematics, English language arts, and in other important indicators of success. It will not be until the end of October or 1st of November before we have all the results back from assessments that are really important to look at. But in the meantime, we can be gathering this data and we can begin to think, what does that accountability look like? That's vaguely stated. And we want to know, as in the book Moneyball, where do we play, how do we win, what do we do Monday morning, and how do we know at the end of each quarter that what percentage of our students are making progress. So the second highlighted area has to do with the state law and the additional resources this system and some others have dedicated to ensuring that students have the total system of supports that they need in order to learn. The overall goal is off on the right in big print, and it's about preparedness, ensuring every year that more students are prepared to step successfully out of our system and into their next endeavor in some positive and productive way. So moving on to the next slide, there are some things we think you should consider at your September 6th workshop. So September 6th will be up workshop. We'll not be up here on the stage. We'll be down on the floor. We may have to move to a different room, but we'll break into 3 groups and rotate so that we can actually look at the different areas of the district and consider what this board believes should be the main priority, and then we'll look at 45 and 90-day specific deliverables that match those goals. So the other thing that's highlighted here, so that we have 3 priorities altogether, is actually our number 1 priority, increasing the safety and security preparedness of schools and making sure that we do protocol checks. And you may have heard that our security staff is out now with doing practice drills with local law enforcement. So that's underway and progressing really nicely through the schools. It's terrible to have to prepare for that, but we don't want non-preparedness to ever be the case in our district. Effectively merge a lot of different but related programs at North Lake Community Learning Center. They should be related. They've been working in isolation. We want to reinvigorate the college center plan and expand preschool. So you can see that's sort of like a continuum. We want to develop longer-term technology, refresh programs and funding plans, develop strategies to address the staffing shortages so that we're looking longer-term at investing and growing our own. We want to review the construction plans. We want to take another look at Immersion 2.0 and revisit our online learning program. And then finally, we know we want to implement electronic board agendas so that it's really easy for the public to see our agenda. If any modifications need to be made, it's easy for them to see immediately what modifications have been made. And the day after the meeting, every document that was given to the board, save those that are shared in executive session, would be available for the public just as quickly as we can get it transferred over online. It makes it very easy to search previous meetings and find information. So B is our recommendation to develop a new strategic plan after the November elections and onboarding of the new superintendent. The target would be at least by September 1 of next year, because we definitely want to make sure that our stakeholders are involved in this process and that everyone who's involved with the public schools, and that's everyone, feels ownership in what we're doing. We need to refine the district's academic recovery plan. All the districts had to submit those plans in a rushed timeline without significant data to use in creating the plans. We'll look at those on September 6th in a proposed fashion. And then, as I've mentioned, we want to establish the quarterly deliverables, timelines, and indicators of progress. So that's really, in summary, the priorities we wanted to talk about. The only other thing I want to mention this evening is on the next couple of slides. We have to make sure that we're making annual growth with all of our students. That's probably not happening anywhere in any district, but we've got to tailor more carefully our resources so that we make sure that every child is growing 1 year per year, and then to identify the kids who have to grow more than 1 year per year. So our key question is, where are students now? How far do they need to grow? And then on the next slide, what our board can do over on the right-hand side. If students are 1 year below grade level or more, what do they need from us? First of all, they need us to be focused on teaching and learning. They have to have more engaged time. They will not be able to make up a year and a half, or 2 years or more than a year's growth in the same year if we don't do something differently. So they're going to have more time. That might happen during the school day. It could possibly happen after the day or during the summers. They have to have highly effective teachers for at least 3 years in a row. Highly effective teachers are those who can grow students more than 1 year per year. And then we've got to implement classroom practices that are proven to grow students more than a year per year, which takes a very high level of success. So as soon as we're allowed to release data, Ms. Gaskins and Dr. Phillips are working on the data that will help us make some decisions about what we need to do. And finally, I simply want to mention this idea from Jim Collins. It's on the next slide. Thank you, Josh. On the final slide then is from Jim Collins' little monograph called Good to Great for the Social Sectors or for the Nonprofit Sector. Disciplined people with disciplined thought taking disciplined action. So if we exercise disciplined thought and action to ensure our work is purposeful and impactful, this relentless intentionality on supporting teaching and learning, recognizing how difficult the past 2 years have been for everybody, and recognizing that it's time to move forward and stay focused on our core business, which is teaching and learning and ensuring that more students reach levels, indicators of success. And then that means, of course, governing with strategic purpose. So we close out with pictures of lovely children in Lexington School District One, and we are really happy to have these photos. So that's the superintendent's report for tonight. I didn't mention during the report that as we think about the 9.2, as we think about procuring the software that will allow us to put agendas online, procurement, we follow the state procurement process. The procurement panel needs a board member appointed so that the board moving forward is represented on looking at the different types of software you have. So that covers our total, that was the drive-by in a positive sense. Thank you.
And Dr. Postlewaite, I'm encouraged that the strategic planning process will cover or bracket the budget process, because again, we will have to see how things mature with our economies and such, because obviously we can't execute a plan without appropriate funding. So I'm glad that will incorporate the budget process. So thank you.
I would be happy to, I'm like you, if I can find my place on the agenda. Thanks. In our next report then from the superintendent, it is to talk to you about the Cognia Accreditation process, which is used by most districts throughout the country. Natalie Osborne-Smith, Dr. Smith is going to talk with us about the summary Cognia Accreditation report.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. Tonight, I'm going to present to you a little information about our review results. To start, though, I would like to give just a quick overview about the accreditation process and just to remind you why we do what we're doing. So the review process really is to determine if educational programs like ours meet defined standards of quality. The process of academic accreditation typically culminates with an external review by a team of professional experts. In South Carolina, the Department of Education accredits all public education units, including the boards of trustees, district operations, schools, and career and technology centers. The accreditation process is cyclical, as I've told you before, and happens every 5 years. In South Carolina, Cognia is the agency that the Department of Ed uses most often, particularly with systems who have been accredited previously. So on the screen, you see the definition that Cognia uses for continuous improvement. Cognia expects institutions to use the results of the review and the analysis of our data to drive education quality and improve student outcomes. On the slides that follow, I'm going to give you some details about the feedback that we were given and about the findings. So our review consisted of a variety of components that you see listed on the screen, which included a virtual visit in May of 2022. During that virtual visit, Cognia's evaluation team spent time gathering firsthand information from our folks in the system in order to determine if we were performing against the Cognia performance standards. Some of that data that they collected included interviews with guardians, elementary, middle, and high school students, teachers, school administrators, and Board of Trustees members, as well as a review of documentation from every division and department. The team also interviewed systems leaders to gather additional information about processes and evidence. After reviewing that evidence and the data from interviews, our team provided feedback to our institution against the standards. So let's look at the standards first. We are assessed in 3 domains in Cognia. That includes leadership capacity, learning capacity, and resource capacity. Under these 3 domains, there are 31 national standards, 11 of which fall under leadership capacity, 12 under learning capacity, and 8 that fall under resource capacity. In the chart that you see on the screen, we scored at the highest level, which is impacting in 26 of 31 standards. These ratings are a testament of the work that our staff, teachers, administrators, students, and families do every day to make learning happen in the system. I also want to honor, however, that we do have room to grow, which is an essential component of the continuous improvement process. And I'm going to share those findings, our areas of growth, and our areas of success with you in just a moment. So after the accreditation visit, Cognia takes all of the results that the team gathered during the engagement review to make a final determination regarding our accreditation status. This includes an index of education quality score, which is a holistic measure of overall performance based on the standards I just did an overview of. So the IEQ results are reported on a scale of 100 to 400, and it provides information about our system as compared to expected criteria. Our index of education quality score for our most current review in May was 367.1. Please note that our score is well above the range of annual IEQ scores averages from the last 5 years in the Cognia accreditation system. This score indicates that our district demonstrates noteworthy processes and practices that produce clear results that impact our system and ultimately student performance. So in addition to the scores that you just saw, Cognia gave us a list of commendations and areas of growth. So in terms of strengths that they saw, they noted that we have a coherent and comprehensive mission and vision. that was collaboratively developed initially. Also, they noted that our strategic plan is specifically focused on that mission and vision, and that our schools have school-aligned plans that work towards that same goal. Additionally, they stated that our professional learning plan and program is extensively developed and offers continuous improvement processes for all staff, as well as noting that we have effectively identified and leveraged a number of performance indicators of system and learner success that improve student performance. Finally, they stated that they were encouraged by our culture of collaboration that we have here that is both expected and supported across schools and across divisions. But as I said before, we always have room to grow, and these are the things that will align with what Dr. Postlewaite shared with you earlier. In our report, Cognia is asking that or recommending that we refine the following practices. First, that we continue to work on differentiating learning for student needs, that we use data to inform and design instruction for children, that we collect and use data to assess district practices and programs both inside and outside of instruction, and that we provide additional opportunities for cross-division and cross-school collaboration. So to end tonight, I always like to take a moment to thank the people who help make the work that I do possible. I want to sincerely thank every parent, guardian, student, staff member, administrator, teacher who made this work possible. Also, I just want to note that it really was a story, and they were able to provide the colorful pictures on our processes and our evidence. So it was wonderful that they were able to share. I was very encouraged that our team continuously repeated how impressed they were with our children and how our children could talk about what they were learning and why they were learning, and with how knowledgeable our staff and stakeholders were about our work. And finally, I'm just going to take a point of privilege to thank Shannon Williamson, who is my colleague that helped me to keep track of all the logistics and evidence. She was invaluable to our work. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We really appreciate the report. That is an extremely high Cognia score. I don't know that I've ever seen one that high. It's very impressive work. Next, we have operations. Matt Warren is going to give us the information on the building plan progress. You notice in your agenda, there's a link to the full report as well.
Madam Chair, Dr. Postlewaite, members of the board, excited to be here tonight to provide another update from operations from the month of August and really this summer. Been very extremely busy in a lot of areas in our school district, but in operations it's been very busy, as tonight's photos and updates will show. I want to start at Gilbert Middle School. Dr. Postlewaite mentioned in her update that we opened a 4-classroom addition at Gilbert Middle School, and you see photos here of the completed project. Also, a partial HVAC replacement was done at Gilbert Middle School, which, you add that on to an addition. It was a very busy summer in Gilbert, especially in Gilbert Middle School, and able to bring these classrooms online. And the photos here show the outside of the building. Here you see this is the exterior of the 4-classroom addition in the hallway. And once again, we really work hard to match any kind of addition to a facility to the existing building. We felt like we accomplished that here in Gilbert. A couple more photos of Gilbert Middle School. I showed you the courtyard, the canopy that we completed back in the spring. We were able to finish the irrigation and sod here in the front entryway to Gilbert Middle, really helping it stand out, provide a great visual as you walk up to the front of campus. Also, a dishwasher replacement was done this summer. You see here to the right in the kitchen. Food service is very appreciative of that and able to put that to work here last week, feeding the students. Moving down the road to Gilbert High School, work continues on their new Performing Arts Center and athletic addition. You see the front of the Gilbert PAC here is really taking shape. Most of the hardscape is completed. You see on the right here, the interior of the PAC is nearing completion as well. Paneling is going up around the stage and around the front opening there. Floor will soon be painted and seat installation occurring right after that. Also in Gilbert, as part of their addition, an athletic addition, you see here on the left, the weight room is pretty much complete. There, you see the equipment is installed and ready for student use here very soon. On the right, you see the wrestling room. Wall padding is up, and the padding is actually, the wrestling padding is right here, sitting in the weight room, ready to be moved over and installed into the wrestling room. We're looking to have a final inspection here in Gilbert, middle of October, so not much longer, and that facility will be in use in Gilbert. Saxagatha Elementary School, another project in full swing this summer, renovations there, upfitted the group restrooms with new paint, new flooring, also new bathroom partitions were installed at Saxagatha. You see a new kitchen serving line on the right here was done. We've done a lot of work in kitchens through this referendum and able to accomplish that at Saxagatha this summer. Also, I've mentioned before in previous updates the focus we've had on providing storage for our schools, and here's two examples of that. On the left, Saxagatha Elementary School's storage building. On the right, New Providence, very similar storage building, pretty much complete outside of a rolling door to be installed for that to be in use at New Providence. Lake Murray Elementary School, we are very close to completion on a multi-phase project there. This school has received a brand new roof. You see pretty much obviously the entire school has, at this point, we did half the roof last summer and we did the rest of the roof this summer at Lake Murray. Also a partial HVAC replacement was done last summer and this summer. A few more rooftop units to install, once again, fighting lead time challenges, but we're finding ways to get creative and install those units on the weekends, after hours, holidays, whatever it takes to make sure that work is done with minimal disruption to the school. But we work very well with our contractors and design firms, which is really critical in construction, especially how things are now. Our transportation facility is making great progress, located on 2 Notch Road near Highway 6 and I-20. This facility will serve buses from the White Knoll areas, Lexington and River Bluff, working towards a winter completion on this facility. You see this is right looking into the really the foyer in the front of the facility. When this is completed, you'll have offices down each side of the building. Also, we'll have a big meeting space here in the back for bus driver trainings and staff development sessions. A few more photos of the facility show the bus shop area here in the back. We'll have a shop for buses here and also an exterior wash bay. You see a little better photo of that here. This will be the exterior wash bay at the facility, and then also we'll have area here for the shop for buses to be serviced and worked on by mechanics. You see the roofing material has started to be installed at the facility. Once again, working towards a winter completion there for the bus facility. Next up, very busy summer at the newly renamed North Lake Community Learning Center, and noted in Dr. Postlewaite's message, the effectively merging programs at North Lake. We did a lot of merging at North Lake this summer, and it was really a project that I was extremely proud of our operations team on. Right now, as we speak, this facility houses AES, the College Center, Lula, Parenting Center, Adult Education, and soon will house Midlands Tech and our food service program. All in all, including Lakeside, I wanted to mention this, our operations team relocated 220 staff members this summer. And so you can imagine that's a lot of furniture, that's a lot of file cabinets, that's a lot of boxes, that's a lot of equipment. Really couldn't be more proud of our team and the work that they did this summer to make, I didn't think this was possible, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, we met about this back in the spring and I was sitting there going, we'll make it happen, and I'm telling myself, this is not gonna happen. And so a lot of teamwork, a lot of effort, a lot of sweat, and now this facility is online.
And Mr. Warren, I hope we gain some synergy in operations, because again, we can gain some efficiency now that a lot of those teams are together, as well as partnership with our community. So thank you for pulling that together.
Absolutely. A few more photos here of North Lake. You see, this is just an outside shot here, Adult Ed, Mr. Banner and his team. This is the 300 building at North Lake, and then on the right, a parking lot that we were able to complete in the back this summer. Really critical piece to this, providing some more parking for our staff there. We were able to make that happen. Rosenwald Community Learning Center, next up in the presentation, yet another busy site this summer. Our entire Special Services Division was relocated to Rosenwald, so also we were doing work at Northlake at the same time, relocating our Special Services staff to Rosenwald. They were part of the 220, and obviously I want to commend that team for their efforts this summer as well. They were a big help to making this transition possible. You see one of the classrooms here, there's now office space, and then the front with new carpet, new paint. Pleasantville Middle School added a rainy day canopy here on the left for pickup, and then also new lighting in the cafeteria, which really made a great impact in that space. The Carolina Springs Middle Addition, mentioned in Dr. Postlewaite's message, 6th classroom addition, and also a canopy work was done there as well. Replaced our furniture this summer at Gilbert and Whitenall High, and so at this point, our Future Ready furniture rollout is really nearing completion, and I did some rough numbers on that. We've touched 1,400 classrooms through this program since the referendum started, so a lot of work and a lot of coordination from our operations team as well to make that happen. And final update tonight, Lakeside Middle. Thrilled to see students and staff thriving at the new Lakeside Middle School, 214,000 square feet, currently serving 840 students. Really a pleasure to be out there the first week of school and seeing Mr. Calhoun and his team bring that facility to life. As always, you can follow our progress on our building plan website.
And Mr. Warren, as someone that goes up and down 378 for work, I have thoroughly enjoyed those 840 students no longer being at their previous location.
Yeah.
Traffic is noticeably different.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
I know the district's not in the business of county planning or traffic planning. We are in the business of building schools to meet student needs, but I think that move was a home run for our county, our town, and some of its traffic issues.
I think we've all felt that, so thank you.
I want to thank you for the report, and just so everyone knows, that timer is that it's the 2-minute warning to tell us to wrap it up. So
Okay.
I forgot to tell
Well,
the
you
staff
wish we could
that.
keep talking.
Thank you.
So we're really pleased, excuse me, to bring the summer program wrap up. A lot of exciting things were going on this summer. Dr. Erica Bissell is going to do that for us.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Postlewaite. It's my pleasure to be with you tonight to share the 2022 summer program wrap-up. Though I enjoy all the projects I get to engage in, summer programs is certainly one of my favorites. This summer in Lexington One, we provided a variety of summer program opportunities. These summer programs provided structures to help students stay engaged, but they also supported students in keeping their academic skills polished, and in many cases, even made it possible for students to get ahead. One of the best things about our summer programs is that they are multifaceted, offering students not only academic opportunities, but also enrichment and social emotional experiences. This summer, programs were funded in 2 ways. Some were federally funded, primarily through ESSER funds, and some were district funded. For the federally funded programs, students were invited based on specific academic criteria. Staff included certified teachers, instructional assistants, nurses, food service workers, housekeepers, bus drivers, dispatchers, and front office personnel. Elementary Summer Connections is our largest federally funded summer program. The summer program best practices used in Elementary Summer Connections grew out of our years of experience running the state-required Read to Succeed Summer Reading Camp and ESOL Summer Camp. Each Elementary Summer Connection site houses the state-required Read to Succeed Summer Reading Camp and ESOL Summer Camp within the greater program structure. Some highlights from the federally funded programs listed on this slide include students who attended the summer programs listed had the opportunity to choose 16 books from a sponsored book fair to bolster their at-home libraries. Based on pre- and post data, students at Middle School Summer Connections reported an increased confidence and sense of preparedness for the upcoming school year in ELA and math after participating in the program. Of the 13 students required to attend Elementary Summer Connections based on Act 284 Read to Succeed, only 2 were recommended for retention. And almost 90% of students who attended Elementary Summer Connections maintained or grew in reading based on their text level, and 97% maintained or grew in math based on the module pre- and post assessment. Some highlights from the federally funded programs on this slide include Like the camps on the previous slide, all students who attended one of the camps listed here had the opportunity to choose 16 books from a sponsored book fair to bolster their at-home libraries, and students at Rising Stars Camp had the opportunity to explore CTE courses and career pathways offered at LTC. Data and notes on student progress for many of the summer programs will be shared with schools to inform student intervention and support throughout this year. Sharing summer data and notes is something we continue to hone as we move forward and something we want to certainly get stronger with. This summer, we also offered district-funded programs in the areas of elementary immersion and the arts. Students were invited to these programs based on participation in a particular program. Similarly to the federally funded programs, staff of district-funded programs included certified teachers, instructional assistants, nurses, food service workers, housekeepers, bus drivers, dispatchers, and front office personnel. Some highlights from the district-funded programs include students who attended the elementary immersion camp got to experience the River Bluff High School Dragon Dance, a performance by the Columbia Marionette Theater, and a performance of African drums. And all students who participated in a camp for the arts had the opportunity to showcase their work at the conclusion of their camp experience. I want to end by sharing a few highlights that are not specific to the program funding source or any one summer program in particular. One highlight is the opportunity summer programs provide for our district to engage in community partnerships, such as partnerships with the local public libraries and homegrown authors. Summer programs also allow departments and divisions across central services to come together to provide robust experiences that include not only academics, but also food, transportation, and health and safety services. Summer programs allow teachers and staff from across the district to establish relationships and enhance collaboration during and beyond the start and end dates of each program. And in my opinion, the most important highlight of all is that Lexington One summer programs empower all involved in the areas of creativity, learning, growth, confidence, success, and joy. Thank you for your time and attention. I will answer any questions you have.
One question would be staffing of the summer. A little insight, was it challenging? Was it widely accepted? What's sort of the feedback there?
So it was a little bit more challenging this year. However, we do have a lot of repeat staff. So those who have worked at camp in the past typically come back. They enjoy the experience. But we did have a little bit of trouble finding folks this year. I think people were tired. And, there was a lot. It was also the first time a lot of travel had opened up. So I think there was some maybe barriers to their participation. And we do try to have consistency in our staff so that students can build those relationships. So though a teacher may say, I want to work a week out of the 6, we will allow them to participate, but we will look for our classroom teachers to have more of that consistent presence in the classroom. We did, with our federally funded programs, we were able to increase the rate of pay for those programs, and so that was an incentive that I think helped to bring more teachers and staff out for summer programs. But certainly we would like to have more staff so we can serve more students.
Thank you.
And Ms. Bissell, my ask is, again, you don't have to answer this now, but as we've done this now 2 summers, and again, the pandemic has taught us a lot about online learning and summer camps and trying to close gaps. So as we go through a strategic planning process and think about future iterations of what the summer should look like, it'd just be interesting to know what was effective versus what wasn't, so that we can maximize and prioritize that in our planning process. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Note taken.
All right. Anything else from the superintendent's desk?
No, ma'am, other than to thank those who presented in this wonderful senior leadership team here on the left, and again to call out a special thanks to Jeff Salters for all he's given the district.
Thank you. All right, we are moving on to item 10.0, which is citizens' participation. Lexington County School District One's Board of Trustees solicits the advice and counsel of its citizens. To encourage this participation, the board provides a citizens' participation period during board meetings. In order to speak, you must be the parent or legal guardian of a student currently attending a Lexington District 1 school, a taxpayer residing in the Lexington District 1 attendance area, an employee of the district, or a student currently attending a Lexington District 1 school. You may comment on agenda items, school operations, policies, or programs. You may not speak about or name specific individuals, whether students or school or district staff. Failure to follow this rule will result in immediate loss of the opportunity to speak. We want to remind you that this meeting is being live streamed and that the recording of this meeting will be part of the public record in perpetuity. We want to give everyone who came tonight an opportunity to speak, and in order to do that, I will call on each speaker by name and ask you to approach the lectern at the back of the room. The board will not reply to your remarks nor take any action during the board meeting in response to your comments or questions. You may address the board for up to 3 minutes. If you have any handouts you would like the board to review, please give them to Ms. Halliday in the back of the room, and she will distribute them. Please do not clap or make any comments either while an individual speaks or after he or she finishes. As you came in tonight, you received a card to fill out if you indicated you wanted to speak. That card asks for your name, address, and other information. However, I will read out only your name and the town you reside in. If you're unable to attend this evening or are uncomfortable addressing the board in person, you may reach out to the board by email, telephone, or mail, and our contact information is available on the Lexington District One website. We welcome all messages. All right, first this evening we have Ms. Dana Holmesley, and she lives in Lexington and wants to address the board about financial concerns. Could you give those to Ms. Halliday, please? Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to be talking about financial concerns. Last summer, you all voted on an $11 million increase to the bond referendum for significant changes to 2 projects. Thank you. The transportation facility to house buses and site work for Lakeside Middle School. However, when the referendum was passed, the board had committees that reviewed projects, budgets, and hired contractors. Why was this not done for $11 million in changes to projects? After attending board meetings and emailing the board and district staff with questions about the bond referendum, I decided to go outside the district for answers. I made a records request to the State Department of Education and discovered that the district sat on this information for months before they made the board aware. So why was the board asked to approve the budget increase immediately if time wasn't really of the essence? I have emailed the board in the past with my questions about the bond referendum, but only the same 2 board members responded. When can we expect an update on a timeline for the remaining projects? Where are we with the school that was going to be put on Corley Mill Road? This school was supposed to open in 2020, but land hasn't even been purchased. For the most recent land purchase for the transportation facilities, documents on file at the courthouse show the district paid $5 and other valuable consideration. What other valuable consideration would a private citizen give a public body? Purchasing cards or credit card statements. In 2017, Ms. Garris, as a citizen, stood up here, just like I am now, and told the board that the district was required to post credit card statements on their website. Fast forward to March 2022, when I began emailing the board, because the statements were still not posted online, and while I'm thankful that those statements are slowly making their way to the website, what I'm seeing is alarming. About 24 employees have more than 1 card in their name, while 1 employee having 12 cards in his name. Our external audits used to check that each employee had only 1 P card issued in their name, but our most recent audit from 2021 did not check this. The CFO has sole discretion to issue multiple P cards to 1 employee. The CFO makes decisions on who to issue multiple P cards to on a case-by-case basis. There is no policy or guidance for this, and none is provided when asked. Our district does not do internal P card audits. Richland 1 has an ongoing criminal investigation after their internal audit showed concerning purchases, and an employee was allowed to quit his job instead of termination with cause, as our policy dictates. Why isn't this board requiring internal audits? This audit is for 2-month sample of credit card purchases. We also average over 2 dozen unauthorized procurements each month. How does this reconcile? These issues need to be fixed so our children, teachers, and staff and community can have the school district they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Holmesley. Next, we have Mr. Aaron Grenade. He lives in Lexington and wants to speak about conflicts of interest.
Thank you. I'm reading this on behalf of a brave mom. From a school board member who's sitting on the panel. I am surprised, quote, I am surprised by your email below and disappointed in the tone as well as implied threats. Lexington Medical Center requires vaccinations for anyone who may come in contact with its patients because we have a moral and ethical obligation to prevent them from dying from this virus. You choosing to not vaccinate is your right and decision. People make healthcare decisions every day that influence their health outcomes. Similarly, LMC has chosen not to allow an unvaccinated person to come in contact with patients who place their trust in us to care for them. Whether you choose to believe it or not, vaccines save lives. Despite what you may read from other sources, I see the deadly consequences on a weekly basis for those who choose to not be vaccinated for what is now a largely preventable disease. Our employees do have the ability to apply for an exemption, but that is through their employment relationship with us. There are additional controls that they have to put in place to protect our patients. This person's daughter is not an employee and therefore does not have the same application of employment laws and regulations. With respect to the educational offerings within Lexington One hosted by Lexington Medical Center, I am not personally involved as a board member in the selection or execution of those rotations. I have included Dr. Postlewaite as she can route this email to the team members within Lexington One to help your daughter select a different educational opportunity that Lexington One provides. I have and will continue to advocate for strong community opportunities for our Lexington One students, independent of site or company. Finally, still in quote, any implications of impropriety by you involving the hospital in a public forum will be engaged with the full weight of Lexington Medical Center. I will also publicly affirm that Lexington Medical Center chooses to protect the lives of the patients who put their trust in their care by requiring vaccinations of its students and vendors. I demand immediately the resignation of this board member.
Thank you, Mr. Grenade. Next, we have Ms. Courtney Elizabeth. She lives in Lexington and has would like to share a concern.
Thank you. My name is Courtney Elizabeth. I am the chapter chair for Moms for Liberty Lexington County, and I'm here because the behavior of a school board member needs to be held accountable. This member threatened a mother who was just looking for information on a policy about a class that her daughter is taking. When is that not allowed? When is that to be treated as an assault on the district? The answer is never. The mother was respectful and followed the policies and procedures. The board has always said to reach out to them with questions and concerns, and that is exactly what that mother did. She came to you in a respectful manner, seeking guidance. How the school board member conducted himself is egregious. He came to her with nothing but stonewalling and finally with a threat that he would use his position of power at a different facility, not related to the school board, to silence this woman. This is an ethics violation if I have ever seen one. He is serving as a school board member. The mother went to him as a school board member. He has no right to bring in his employer and other board positions that he serves on in the community as a weapon. How is the behavior acceptable? How is this abuse of power acceptable? How are parents going to feel that they are safe to come and speak at the board meetings and interact with the board members if they are going to be dealt threats by a member and an entity in our community that they obviously do not have the financial fortitude to combat? School board member, does Lexington Medical know that you are using them as your personal Gestapo to silence parents from asking questions related to their children's education? I am so thankful that this brave woman would not be silenced by you. That she was brave enough to first look out for her daughter's best interest, but then when she saw the treatment she was receiving, to reach out to other members of the community. Other members like Moms for Liberty and the South Carolina Freedom Caucus. These legislators from across the state drove down to show support for this woman today, to show that our constitutional and parental rights will not be infringed. We are here today to let this mother know and any other parent or guardian in this room that you are not alone and that we stand with you. We are here today to see that the school board enacts its zero tolerance policy on bullying to this member. I am asking all of those here today who support this mother and condemn the actions of this school board member to stand up now and to stand with Moms for Liberty and the South Carolina Freedom Caucus, and most importantly, the brave mother who is only looking out for the best interests of her child, and demand the immediate resignation of Dr. Brent Powers.
Ms. Elizabeth, please sit down. Next, we have Ms. Stephanie Berquist, and Ms. Berquist lives in Lexington County, and she would like to speak about the first week of school.
Hey, so I'm going to start with something positive. Like I said a few months ago, it's been a while since I've been here, but I do want to say something positive. The principal at Gilbert High School has been wonderful in making accommodations for my children, so I appreciate that, and I'm going to start there. Obviously, we're here for a reason. Let's talk about the first week of school. It's been a lot for us parents, for y'all, for everybody. It's been a lot. There's a lot of things here. Of course, the most egregious situation that we're here to talk about. I was asked by this parent as well to help. I am in receipt of this email between the board member and the parent. The Attorney General and the Governor and multiple legislatures are also looking into this, as well as our state's Freedom Caucus. This is a very serious issue. This parent was told that her child was mandated to have a COVID vaccination, which is not required in a multitude of places in our state. We have exemptions in our schools, and we have religious exemptions in a multitude of other places. This parent asked for an exemption to this mandate. She was met with threatening, as you now know, at the very least intimidating. I don't claim to know the verbiage between threatening and intimidating, so I want to be very clear, but it was pretty harsh. This is from a board member using his power from a local high-power institution. As you now know, I'm the third person to speak about this. I am here today because this is never going to be acceptable. It's not acceptable today, it's not acceptable for future board members, and people need to be held accountable. People are afraid to come and speak, and that's why we are here to speak on this today. This is not about this one incident, but this is about the precedent being set for current or future board members and how they engage with parents and community members. Community members and parents, it is time to take our schools back. Those of you watching at home, it is time. You do not need to be afraid to come here. Multiple board seats are open. We plan to flip this board. We plan to take it back. We plan to get things back to parental autonomy. And I'm going to read this, what I consider a threat, if not very intimidating statement one more time, just so all of you can be aware. This email says, any implications of impropriety by you involving the hospital in a public forum, such as this, will be engaged with the full weight of Lexington Medical Center. I will also publicly affirm that Lexington Medical Center chooses to protect the lives of our patients who put their trust in our care by requiring vaccinations of its students and vendors. This is an email that went from a current board member to a parent. That is not appropriate. We have elections coming up, and there are some candidates running from this very institution, so I would encourage parents and anybody watching to be very educated on who you vote in for these seats. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Natasha Duran, and she would like to speak. She lives in Lexington and would like to speak about lockers and backpack weight.
Hello, board members. I want to thank you first for opening the floor for public comment. I also want to start on a positive note. I'm new to the Lexington 1 district, recently moved down from New Hampshire, and I have to say that I'm very impressed with this district. I have been very impressed with the classes that my child has been able to choose from. I was also very impressed that I received a call from the school counselor in the first week when my child came out as non-binary, and they asked me for permission to use they, them pronouns, which I wholeheartedly supported. So thank you for instilling a culture of caring. Now on to my concern. It has come to my attention personally, as well as from other parents here in the district, that we have a small issue. And I do respect the responsibility that you all shoulder when it comes to the budget. However, backpack weights. I know that it seems to be a very small matter, but I'm coming to you as not only a concerned mother, but I also am coming to you as a professional. So right now, I'm actually in my last semester of my graduate program as in integrative medicine, and I'm also in the PhD track at my university in physiology. So this is something that I'm very well educated on and very passionate about. So the issue is that our kids are coming home with a massive amount of weight, over a quarter of their body weight. I actually weighed my child's backpack, and it weighs in at about 25 pounds before I add lunch. Multiple other parents have reached out to me. I also have a change.org petition that has almost 100 signatures on it just in a 24-hour period. I would be happy to share that with you. But we would like to address this because it has come to our attention that some of these schools that have recently been built were built without lockers. Other schools that do have lockers, the students don't have access to them. And this ranges not only in middle school and high school, but also reaches into elementary school. I had one parent who reached out with a child who's 50 pounds and is coming home with almost 20 pounds in their backpack. This is something I don't think is going to get addressed tonight, but I would like to open the conversation so that we can start making suggestions so that our kids are not having to carry their entire day on their back, day in and day out. When I go to pick up my child, I often see children who are not only wearing one backpack on their back, but they're also wearing another backpack on their chest, or they're carrying heavy band equipment. That's a lot. And if we want our children to have a quality education, the last thing they need to worry about is headaches, back pain, or neck pain because of the amount of weight we're asking them to carry every single day. So I would like to work with the district. I recognize I'm running out of time, but I'd like to work with the district in order to address this problem and come up with some ways of fixing it for our students. Thank you.
All right, and finally, we have Ms. Katie McCown. She lives in Lexington and would like to speak about the survey and the bus.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. The reason I'm speaking tonight is the same reason I am running for this board, to be the voice of the parents, to create change so that policies change, and thus bringing one of the best school districts around to be great again. I cannot do this alone, and I'm thankful that over the last few years, I've developed some very dear friends that join beside me to help bring about the changes this district, its parents, students, and community are craving. With that being said, I have had so many calls within just the first week of school. The first thing I'd like to mention is about a topic I think we can all agree on we're tired of hearing about: COVID. An email was sent out from our head district nurse in regards to students being quarantined after testing positive. I bring this up because parents are tired of being told what to do in this regard to their children's health, and also because the CDC put out a statement on 8/11 saying those exposed to the virus are no longer required to quarantine. So just thought maybe you missed that in the news or whatever. You might want to let the nurse know. The second item I want to bring up is the clear bag announcement. I called it an announcement because there is no policy. We can't seem to get our hands on an actual policy. So technically, it's not really anything but an announcement. I think it's so important to make sure we're following policy and not just enforcing some random decision someone made. If this is the district's way of making sure they're covered legally should an incident happen, this decision will fail in a courtroom. I think we could all agree there. And furthermore, I agree with a lot of parents that feel clear bag policy or clear bags will not stop someone from putting drugs in their pocket or strapping a weapon to their person. So it's really also very difficult to enforce. Another topic that came up a lot was the bus situation. I'm not sure why we can't get our bus drivers more money so we can get more hired and get our kids home in a timely manner. Some parents wrote to me saying their child did not leave the school to come home until 5:30, which is causing all kinds of problems, as you can imagine. Please work to get this resolved for our families. And last thing I want to touch on is these surveys. I want this board to evaluate what the real purpose is of gathering all of this data on our students. Is it making a difference? And are you seeing big results for the amount of money that you're spending with your partnership with terrorist metrics? I think we need to move away from putting more tasks on our teachers and instead take away such tasks for our teachers and just let them teach and encourage the love of learning to these students. A good education goes a long way, and I don't think these surveys do. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. I'm sorry, did you sign up to speak?
No, ma'am, I was running late. Would you provide me the courtesy?
I'm sorry, our policy says that you have to sign up before the meeting starts. That's a rule that we've enforced for everyone else. I apologize. Thank you, Representative, appreciate it.
You don't follow BCBI?
All right, we are moving on to item 11.0, which is new business.
Already violated BCBI.
Please do not.
Tell the truth.
All right, we are moving on to recommendations from the ad hoc committee on B policy revisions. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Guyton to lead this conversation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. We are now back into discussion regarding the, I feel like we getting feedback? There we go. Regarding the ad hoc committee for the revision of the B policies. And so what we bring to you tonight is first reading of BDD as well as BG and BGD-R. These are essentially a compilation of several policies. You will see on your agenda that there are corresponding deletions of some older policies. If you can reference the dates in which these policies were put into force, you will see that it's been some time for some of these dating back as far as 1987. So we are, again, looking to consolidate these into several policies. So looking at the first one, the BDD Board Superintendent Relationship. Of notation, the administrative rule will be eliminated and essentially brought into focus with the actual BDD policy itself. And so very little change, if any, during discussion. And so I bring that to you for first reading and reaction. Obviously, we will have another meeting tentatively scheduled right now for September 13th, in which time we will, I believe that's, Tracy, am I correct on that? Okay. Tentatively scheduled for that time right now, in which we will discuss any reactions, thoughts, and bring back to the board for second reading BDD. You can, of course, provide those tonight or in written form to email to me, and again, we will bring that up. Secondly, we have the formation of BG and BGD. Again, these are essentially the processes by which the board adopts policy. And as you can see, this is the elimination of several of the older policies with induction into the new policy. I will, of course, entertain any questions at this time.
I will send these in writing. I just wanted to go over a couple of things so the board would have those. Let's see here. So we have a recommendation to delete policy BDC, which provides a timeline for approval. However, we are now recommending what was once a policy to become part of administrative rule BGD-R. While at the same time, we're recommending the superintendent have the authority to amend administrative rules. So I would want to take a hard look at that. And I've also suggested that, and nothing against you, Dr. Postlewaite, but we're looking far into the future. So instead of the superintendent having the freedom to amend or issue additional rules and procedures, I have suggested we put, upon recommendation from the superintendent, the board will amend or issue additional rules and procedures. And then there's a part of BDDR, guidelines for processing policies and regulations, that did not, this is recommended for deletion, it did not make it into another policy, and it just talks about how the policies will be reviewed and what checkpoints will be followed, but I'll email these to the board.
Yes, thank you. We'll certainly take a look at those during our next meeting and discuss that further. and bring that back to the board with any recommended revisions for second reading. Anything additional?
That it?
That is all I have right now.
Thank you. And thank you again for the work y'all are doing. I know that this is, has been an arduous task.
Yeah, we
Appreciate-
would have, obviously, we would have liked to have gotten a little broader jump over the summer, but unfortunately, due to, obviously, personal conflicts, obviously, some of the direction that the board had to focus its attention, this is one thing that had to just, for a short time, be placed on the back burner for a little bit. But again, we're committed to trying to conclude this by November. Obviously, we're not going to rush this process, and so if it happens to carry over, it carries over.
Thank you. And I appreciate the format that this is in the packet. It's easier to navigate what your recommendations are. So I think that that's a, you've been doing this so long, you're fine tuning the paperwork too. So.
Well, I wish I could take a lot of credit for it, but I really can't. We're going to point that towards Ms. Halliday and give her the full applause for that.
Well, thank you again for your work, and Ms. Halliday too. I know she provides a lot of support to y'all. So, all right. Is that everything in 11.0? I'm going to make sure I don't miss anything.
Yes, that concludes 11.0.
Okay. So again, board, that was the first reading. So, like Ms. Garris, any suggestions or changes you might have, or questions that you have for the committee about why they landed on one thing or another, if you'll just forward those to Dr. Guyton so that they can consider that before the next reading. All right, moving on to item 12.1, student travel requests. Do I hear a motion that the board approve the recommendation of 9 student travel requests? Is that the correct number with the additional one? Okay, 9 student travel requests.
Madam Chair, I move that the board approve the recommendation of 9 student travel requests. The travel requests were reviewed by administration or in compliance with board policy.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. All right, I will turn it over to Mrs. Gaskins for explanation.
Thank you. And Mr. Cooper also has some athletic travel as well, but I'm glad that we have some career and technical education student organizations that will be traveling, both HOSA and DECA, and several performing arts trips. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions about the student travel requests? And Mr. Cooper, sorry.
And we have 3 out-of-state athletic contest requests. Glad to have our teams back competing. And we do have one contest here coming up pretty quick, and 2 spring break tournaments that district teams are attending.
All right, well, I hope to see them out here as champions, so in a few months. All right, any questions for, other questions, board? All right, if there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And motion carries. Do I hear a motion that the board approve 1 individual request to receive a South Carolina high school diploma pursuant to Act 155 of 2014?
Madam Chair, I move that the board approve 1 individual request to receive a South Carolina high school diploma pursuant to Act 155 of 2014.
Thank you, Ms. Henson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. I'm going to turn it over, I believe, to Mr. Cooper to explain what this is. I know you've briefed us on this before, but just for, indulge us and explain this again.
Yes, ma'am. So Act 155 was the legislation that removed the exit exam from the requirement to earn a high school diploma. It was retroactive, so former students can petition to receive their high school diploma had they met all the other requirements. We had 1 such request, and that request was reviewed by the counseling director and the district's director of school counseling, and it is in compliance, and we'd like to recommend approval.
Thank you very much. Any questions, board, or conversation? Every time we get one of those, I'm so glad that the General Assembly did this and made it retroactive, because it's a shame that folks finished all their requirements and a test kept them from getting their diploma. So I'm very excited when we get these requests. So, all right, board, all in favor of approving this request, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Do I hear a motion that the board approve the recommendations of the district instruction district instructional materials adoption committees as district adopted instructional materials for 2022-2023 high school science, advanced placement, AP science.
Madam Chair, I move that the board approve recommendations of the district instructional materials adoption committees as district-adopted instructional materials for 2022-2023 high school science, advanced placement, AP science.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. You did better with that than I did.
Oh. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Garris. Ms. Gaskins, back to you.
Sure. We were happy to learn from the State Department that they had funding available to fund several additional science texts. We convened teacher teams their very first week back at school to have them review the materials and make recommendations, which is what we have brought to you this evening.
Thank you. All right, before we vote, everybody's going to say district instructional materials 3 times fast. All right, board, any questions or discussion of this item? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, as Dr. Postlethwaite mentioned earlier, we will be pursuing procurement of the board. Would you explain? Yeah, I'll let you explain what we're doing.
Software that the board would use in order to make the board meetings, materials, agenda, and minutes available.
The board management
online.
software.
Yes.
Board management software. And as part of that procurement, I've been asked to appoint a board member to serve on that procurement committee, and I would like Mr. Anderson to serve on that because he has a background in IT, and I think that he would be an appropriate choice for that. So do I hear a motion to appoint Mike Anderson to represent the Board of Trustees on the procurement panel for electronic board agendas?
Madam Chair, I move that the board appoint Mike Anderson to represent the Board of Trustees on the procurement panel for electronic board agendas.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. Is there any discussion? All right. Do we know when that procurement panel is going to get going? Do we?
Ms. Miller?
I think it's on now. Good evening. Yes, we are going to do that the week after Labor Day. We should have the RFPs back in, so we will pull together to review those and score those, and then we will have a demo provided, which will probably be in the 2 weeks following that period.
Okay, great. Great. You got that, Mr. Anderson? Okay. All right. Any other discussion or questions? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. We are now at item 13.0, which is items for board information. Board, you have received the following reports for information only: the monthly general fund financial report for July, the monthly capital projects report for July, the monthly unauthorized procurements report for July, the sole source and emergency procurement annual report for 2021-2022, and the minority business enterprise annual report for 2021-2022. All right, I hope everyone has had a great start to the new school year. It's well underway, and I think that it's so normal. It's been wonderful. I mean, it's not been, there have been a few speed bumps, but those are like normal start of school speed bumps, which has been great. And so I'm very appreciative of all of our staff and administration and teachers that have worked. I know school, doesn't just pop out of a box. And so I know y'all have worked long and hard this summer to get ready for all of the success last week. So thank you very much. I do want to mention before we adjourn that the board will have a special called board meeting next Tuesday morning, August 30th at 8 a.m. to discuss matters related to the superintendent search. And also I wanted to mention that the School Board Association has a school law conference this weekend, and Ms. Garris and Ms. Henson and I will be attending that conference. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Henson. Is there any discussion? Does anybody want to stay a little longer? No? All right, then. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.